time. I haven't asked him. I think he's just an energetic dude. We're talking about Alex Steen. He impacts the game, but he to me more importantly, and the game's important, but more importantly, he impacts our team and our locker room. He's I know he had a double double tonight. I jokingly asked if that was his first double double because it was Chauncey's one last game, and he thought I was dead. So he's like, "No, coach, I've had many double." I'm like, "Alex, relax. I know you're like a double double machine at the D2 level, but he does. He just brings that energy every single day. He's so much fun to be around. It's contagious. And on nights like tonight, where we could not buy a bucket in the first half, you need guys with contagious energy that are willing to do whatever it takes to win games. I hope we don't have a lot of halves like that, but it's going to happen. We shoot a lot of threes, and there's going to be stretches where we can't make them. I would encourage our guys to keep taking the right ones and not the wrong ones, because the wrong ones tend to have no chance. But it was just one of those nights in the first half. But the most important thing, and it was our halftime message and the message after the game, is very little of the game is actually shooting the ball. It takes like 1 second to shoot a shot. It's like 2% of the game, whether the shot goes in or not. If you let that miss, and we had some bad misses tonight, affect everything else of what you're doing, you're going to have halves like the first half. And in the second half, they figured out there's much more to basketball than just shooting. That's a big part of our team. It's our identity. We have to make shots to win big games, but we can't let that cripple our basketball. There's so much more you can do. You can guard, you can rebound, you can set screens, you can pick up a teammate, you can get deflections, you can fly around. Like there's a million other things you can do on the court. But if you miss a shot and hang your head, we're done. We're done as a team. And if you start hesitating when you're open, we're done. And I think they realize that. And I think it's natural. No disrespect to Bakersfield. They've gone through their issues and drama this offseason, and they're scrapping a team together. And I think that coach is doing a good job, with the circumstances he took over with. But it's human nature to look ahead. We have a gauntlet of a stretch coming up, starting with Texas A&M, and then Georgia and Houston and at Dayton. We have all these games stacked up. It's human nature for these guys. They're no different than we were when we played. You look ahead and you're getting excited about those games, and you forget you got a game tonight and you got to produce, and that game's going to take care of itself when we get there. And I think that's what we saw in the first half. It was just a lack of focus, and fortunately we turned it around in the second half.
40 points off turnovers in general. Pretty pleased with the defense.
Yeah, and I'm gonna keep saying it. Gerald Gillian's doing an unbelievable job with our defense. I go back to the summertime when we were building this team, and I kept saying, we're gonna be able to win games on our offense and our shooting, the way we constructed this roster. And once we got the guys in, he kept telling me, he's like, we're gonna be really good on defense. And I'm like, all right, G, like, okay, I get you're the defense coordinator, like you want. And he's like, no, coach, I'm telling you, I've been around college. Like, this team has the potential to be really good defensively. And you're seeing it because we have positional size and length. We have guys with great anticipation with their hands. And then, Gerald is doing an unbelievable job at sometimes even coaching things he at times doesn't believe in, because I'm a little reckless of, like, I want to run and jump everything just to disrupt. And at times he'll pull me back and say, okay, mix it up here, do this, maybe go a zone, maybe just play straight up man-to-man one time and sit down and guard. But he has a great feel, and he was a really good head coach at Chicago State for a reason. His teams have always been good defensively. He's going to be an excellent head coach again someday really soon, because of his approach defensively.
Have you ever seen a half quite like that first half?
No.
And, yeah, right? And you know your team can shoot.
Yeah.
So is it, it's basketball, they're going to go in eventually, but how frustrating is that to deal with a half like that?
Yeah, it was more frustrating, our body language, because we were missing shots, and that's what snowballed it. I'm a firm believer in body language screams. It screams what's going on the inside, and you could see every shot they missed that their shoulders came down, their head came down. It was crushing. And if that's the way you play, it doesn't matter how talented you are. The best players in the world are going to miss shots if that's your emotions. And so, but I told Jim Moran, who's also coached the last decade in the NBA, this was a real welcome to college moment for me. I've never seen so many open shots not go in by really good shooters, and hopefully that doesn't happen again anytime soon. But inevitably, we will have stretches where the volume of threes we're shooting, they're not going to go in sometimes, and we have to find other ways to impact the game and win those games. And I thought the second half you saw that, and because our urgency went up in other areas, all of a sudden those open shots started to fall.
But even in the first half, it didn't seem like it affected your defense that much. I mean, they only had 24 points. I think they scored 16 points in the final 16 minutes of the half.
Yeah, it was less about the point total and more about, like I said, our body language. But we were making mental mistakes. Like we messed up 2 ATOs off the board, which to me is a total lack of focus. You literally look at the play, we draw it up twice, and then you go on the court and mess it up. That to me is you're not engaged here. And when you're not engaged there, you know, again, sometimes shots will fall, but generally you're not going to produce to the level you need to. The defense was, and sometimes I got to remind myself, holding a team to 24 points in the first half was really good defensively, and there's things that we should be happy with, but it was more so our approach was not what it needed to be, especially to beat the teams we're trying to beat. You know, we can hold some lesser talented teams to, you know, low point to it, but we're about to play some really good teams, and it's more about the standard of what we're doing and the approach to these games and the focus level and the execution, regardless of whether shots fall. I didn't feel like we had that in the first half, but we put it together the second half and I told the guys I believe in this team wholeheartedly. I think we're going to do some really special things this year and continue to surprise a lot of people. I know the expectations were really low. A lot of people had us the dead last team in the league. And I think every day we get to play a game, it's a great opportunity to prove to everyone that they were wrong about us. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
Following up on that, Derwin, you both have been a part of a big win over Texas A&M. I think Derwin was the leading scorer in that 2011 tournament game.
Yeah.
You just talked about expectations. You talk about this gauntlet. How big is that game on Friday as a showcase piece for you guys, national TV, you know, neutral site? What can that game do for you guys?
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. Anytime you can play a big time opponent with a lot of resources and a lot of fun and a really good coach. Bucky's done a really good job throughout his whole career, putting together great teams that compete at a high level. I just think it's such a cool opportunity for us to go play an opponent in a big time venue and on ESPN2. It checks all the boxes. You guys know this about me. I'm a competitive dude. I want to play the best teams in the country. Derwin's no different. Half our staff played high level basketball and a lot of us professionally. These are the games you want to play, and these are the games you want to coach. You know, and going back to our playing days, Chuck reminded me that we played them in the tournament. Obviously, much different team, much different style. They had some good players. Chris Middleton. They had a squad, and in those moments, and Derwin was a perfect example. Big time players show up and they're excited to play and they produce, and that's what I'm hoping our guys can do in our backyard in a great city. I'm a little biased, but a great area of the world. Where obviously a lot of us have family and friends and a lot of fans that are excited to see us play.
What is the challenge of buckyball, what Coach McMillan does traditionally?
Isn't that awesome that buckyball is like, it's such a catchy name. I promise you I will not use that in my scout. And I hope I never have my last name in a like a style of play, Laux ball. It's like, nah, but it's impressive. They play similar to us in terms of, and he believes in a lot of the same things. I know Gerald coached for him at Sanford for a season, and I know a lot of people. We have the same agent. I know a lot of people that are close with him. He believes in a lot of the same things I believe in terms of, especially at this level, trying to play fast, a super up-tempo game, trying to create efficient shots, and then defensively just wrecking havoc. And they press the entire game. It's going to be a fast pace. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But I have a lot of respect for his teams. You know, just watching college basketball, you can tell pretty quickly who knows what they're doing and who doesn't. And Bucky is one of the guys that really knows what he's doing.
What do you remember about that NCAA tournament game that you guys played in?
Yeah. Yeah, it was up in Chicago. I remember both going into the A&M game and the Notre Dame game that followed. I remember our scout team just torched us, and like we couldn't stop them because it's just such a different style. And these NCAA tournament games, you're playing teams you're not used to, and these non-conference games are very similar to that. Usually, you have a pretty good feel for your conference, but then you play a random team like Texas A&M we're about to play, and they press all game and they fly around and they shoot a ton of threes and they get up and down. It's completely different for the most part than the teams we've been playing, and that's what's great about playing these games. It feels similar to those NCAA tournament games where you prepare for a completely different team you're probably not going to face again. And what a cool opportunity to go against a team with a crazy style, you know. But leading into that game, I remember how good watching Chris Middleton. You're like, oh, this kid's got a real chance, and obviously that turned out pretty well for him. He's made a lot of money and had a lot of good runs in the NBA. But they were just a hard-nosed, tough team, and so were we. And that was a pretty good stretch for us, beating them and then upsetting a big-time Notre Dame team the next game.
One last question on the game tonight. Martin gave you a lift there in the second half. I think all 14 of his points came in the second half.
Yeah.
And Cam came in for Robert when he got his fourth foul, and that's when you guys put together the 21-0 stretch. Just two guys off the bench kind of giving it to you when you had to have it.
Yeah, Rob didn't have his best game. He was turning the ball over, picked up foul trouble again, and we need more from Rob, and we'll get more from Rob. I think Rob's one of the best point guards in the country, and he's going to continue to show that. But on nights like tonight, where he had a little bit of an off game, it was awesome to see Martin and Cam step up in a big way, and all three of those guards I have a ton of trust in different ways. They all bring different things to the table. But when Martin gets going shooting wise, it's incredible. And like I said, we got 5 or 6 guys that can just string off possession after possession of knocking down shots. And he obviously got it going, but more impressive, and he won the player of the game tonight. More impressive, he had 10 deflections, which is to me unheard of, to get your hand on the ball 10 different times throughout the game. And Cam Thomas, all those young guys brought a great amount of energy off the bench tonight in a game where we were a little sluggish to start.
You mentioned Jimmy going home or to the area where you're home from, and Thanksgiving, obviously. So I guess the question is, turkey or ham?
Both. Yeah, I'll probably go back for seconds on both. I'm a big mac and cheese guy, though. To me, Thanksgiving is all about giving thanks to what's important. Whether you're religious or not, everyone can be thankful for something. And there's so much to be thankful for. And one of those things I'm very thankful for is good food. I love sides. I'm a big sides guy. The baked beans, mac and cheese. I'm getting excited just talking about it. And I've been on a good stretch. I've lost some weight. I don't know if you guys haven't said anything, but I'm a little bit thinner. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for the compliments. Thank you. But I'm about to gain some weight back, and we're going down a day early so we can have a little booster event, have a good meal, and then have a good practice on Thanksgiving with a good afternoon meal, and then get ready to play the game on Friday. Yes. We got to make some shots. So we're gonna a different arena, obviously a lot bigger than we're used to playing in. I'm excited. I'm excited to go back home, and this is no different than any away game, but just driving back into Tampa will be it'll be fun.
Amen on the food, but I don't want to say that. But I remember you talking at the Sports Management Student Association meeting a few weeks ago about like what it takes to get guys to like buy into your system. So with that, Bakersfield has some guards who can drive, like CJ Hardy, for example. When your bigs are switching out on the perimeter in the system, what are like the specific techniques you're teaching them to guard a smaller, quicker player without giving up like a low buy or by fouling?
Yeah, so that's a great question. First of all, we want to be aggressive at all times. And whether you're a big or small, medium-sized guy, it doesn't matter. A level of aggressiveness on the ball with ball pressure. Now you have a job to contain the ball, which you can be at a point where you have a disadvantage with a guy like number 0 tonight, and you're 6'10", 6'11". But we always say 5 guys against the ball, and so regardless of who's guarding the ball, You got to be, we call them shifts. So, which is basically like the next line of your defense is sitting in the gap, and no guy's ever going to be on an island. And that was one of the things, back to Corey's point, that we were holding them to a low point total, but our shifts were very poor and they were getting in our paint a lot, too much. And so to answer your question, it's really twofold and maybe threefold. An aggressive nature on the ball with our ball pressure, active shifts, not just sitting in the gap, but being active, trying to swipe for the ball. Then the third part is your backline communication and rim protection. So if they get past the initial defender, if they get past a shift, you got to have someone at the rim waiting for them, trying to go vertical, playing physical without fouling.
Everybody else set?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great night.